In this episode of the Digital Trailblazer podcast, we're going to show you a really neat way to make professional level videos faster. So stay tuned.
If you want to build a legitimate, profitable online business without shiny objects, without the hypey gimmicks, and without the stress and overwhelm, if you want to make more money without having to be present online all day, every day, pumping out content that nobody sees and hustling DMs to generate leads and sales, then this is the place for you. Welcome to the Digital Trailblazer podcast, your online business university, where you'll learn how ordinary people start from ground zero with no influence, no email list or audience to sell to, and no business or marketing experience, and go from working 9-to-5 jobs to building successful 6- and 7-figure online businesses and all the steps in between. Learn the strategies that worked and what didn't. Learn the mistakes that they made and how to avoid them, and then learn their plans for scaling their businesses and taking things to the next level. All so that you can build your business faster and easier and make more money without sacrificing the things that are important to you in your life. I'm your host, Leah Ray Getz, and with me is my husband, Todd. Now, let's get to it with today's guest.
Welcome, everybody. I am Todd Getz, your host of the Digital Trailblazer podcast. And with me today is Justin Ware. Justin, welcome to the podcast. Why don't you introduce yourself and tell our audience what you do and how you help people?
Yeah, hi Todd. Thanks for having me. I'm Justin. I'm with camcorder.ai, and we are an AI enhanced video platform that really just completely reinvents the workflows from going out and actually logging footage to the point where you're finished with a piece and you have video and you're resizing it and reframing it for different media channels and whatnot. So our objective here is to enhance authenticity. We believe that AI should be a hybrid with human ingenuity and human creativity should always be at the top of that list. So what we want to do is we want to, not necessarily create a bunch of deep fakes and avatars, which are obviously increasing in popularity. What we want to do is we want to double down on the real authentic content, real people, real actors, real creators, real videographers, and we want to knock down those roadblocks that, just take a lot of time. Video is time consuming, and we want to make it less time consuming so you can scale your video storytelling.
Yeah, and I think that is so important, especially for this audience, online business owners, coaches, course creators, agency owners. There is so much just fake stuff out there, and the inauthenticity, they're on the lookout for scams, anything that may be inauthentic, and the snake oil salesmen and all that stuff. There's so many people out there who are willing to do or say or just pull the wool over the eyes of the audience in order to just make a quick buck, and it hurts the entire industry. And what we can see right now happening even with the way that we're running ads, with the type of content we create, the stuff that is really working that actually pulls in your ideal clients is authenticity. If I were to boil it down to one word, it's authenticity, it's relationships, it's connection. And so when we're creating videos, you're right, we don't want to do a bunch of deep fakes. We don't want Instagram filters on everything that we do. And then when people see you in real life, they're like, oh, is that even the same person? So when we talk about creating really good, engaging, professional level video, I know that when my wife and I started to get into video in our business and everything, it was very simple. In fact, the background, what it was, is we had just moved into a new house and we had a bunch of boxes stacked up in the basement. And that's where I filmed my very first video. I put a curtain over those boxes for my background and I did this video. And the way that I did it is I memorized this whole 5 or 8 minute script. And then I sat in front of the camera and I just spoke the script into the camera for the full 8 minutes. And it took me about 8 hours to get it just right to where I was happy with it. Then I uploaded it to YouTube. And when I watched it back, it was very cringy. So it wasn't even that good. The way that I do videos now is very different. And I've got a very different mentality about it because it's not just about having one shot that you can do in one take and that's all it is. Because that's not very engaging. Even though, yeah, it's authentic, it's not very engaging. And so in order to create a really good video now, I know that what we need to do is we need to have a bunch of pattern interrupts. We don't want just a talking head video for the whole time where I'm just sitting here static and there's no movement. People aren't watching a video just to see the same thing over and over with a talking head and a mouth moving. They want interaction. They want things popping up on the screen. They want to cut to this camera view. They want to cut to this little thing of B-roll or whatever. You can take the same script, but make it much more engaging and a much better video when you do that. So I know for video production, there's a lot that can go into it that will help you out with your marketing that can be very tough to do. So tell us about what you've got going on over there at camcorder.ai, because when I heard about this, my instant reaction was, I wish I'd had this so many years ago.
That is the most common thing we hear from people when we do the demos and when we have new clients onboarding is, my goodness, if I'd had this as, a 25-year-old, 30, or just even a year ago, right? Because you mentioned it earlier, how consumers are pushing back on generative avatars, deep fakes, things like that, right? It's interesting. It's kind of like, you kind of had these sort of crossing, you've got agencies and brands saying we need more generative AI, but then you've got consumers in the other direction saying, no, I want to see real people. And I think we'll probably have a little bit more of a pushback towards that realness because, I think there's a YouGov study, there's a couple other studies where you're reading where 50-60% of people, can recognize AI when they see it and don't want to have AI when they want to see real people. So that's what we do. We just take every aspect of that video editing process. You mentioned it took you like 8 hours to create the video. What if you could knock down logging? You don't have to log anymore. Have the machine log it for you, right? That saves hours right there. What if you can have something storyboard for you? You can actually pull together a script and you can pull together the B-roll that's logged for you and have a first draft ready. And then you can iterate on that and create on top of that. That's what we're after with Camcorder AI, is being able to really enhance authenticity, enhance and assist the human storytellers, not replace them, give them more tools so they can be more efficient and produce more content that is so valuable in driving everything from engagement to conversion.
So one of the things that you mentioned was the storyboard concept. And to me, that's really interesting because I know that when I'm looking to put together a good piece of content and I want to make it really good, I'm scripting out everything I say. And that's the first thing I start with. And then I think about, okay, well, how do I actually do this video later? And typically by that time, I'm just doing a talking head video and I might have a few cuts in and out and I might have some words that pop up on the screen and that may be it. But I know there's so much more that you can do. So what is a storyboard thing? For those of our audience who don't really understand what a storyboard is, maybe start with that. Like, what is a storyboard? How do we use it? And how can they use that to create a much better professional looking video?
Sure. If you want, I can show you. I've got the platform.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's do that. If anybody is listening to the podcast, we also have this on YouTube. So if you want to check out YouTube, we'll have the video of this.
Awesome. Good deal. All right. So a storyboard, first of all, if you're new to video production, it's not necessarily the finished video, but it's a framework, right? So here's a really good example, right? I'll show you the storyboard first, what it looks like, and I'll talk about the pieces and how we pull it together. So with the storyboard, you kind of have just three sections here. You've got direction over here. That's basically the director saying, here's what I want to see. I want to see footage of this. I want to see B-roll of that. I want to see a wide shot, a tight shot. I want to see a person close up. I want to see them doing this type of activity. Then you get the voiceover. So that's what we hear, right? That's what's the actual, narration of the script. And then we have over here the clips. Now, oftentimes with storyboards, it's just drawn in, right? But with Camcorder AI, we actually pull video from your library. So let me just show you real quick. Take about a minute and a half here to walk through the process. First, it's our library. Our library is full text searchable, right? So you can take a Google Drive folder like this, drop the entire Drive folder into our platform. Our platform will analyze each clip and create a page of metadata so you can search on that metadata. We call it deep video search, right? So let's say we want a dog watching kids at a park, right? Let's see if we have that in our library. There it is. Watching kids at a park. Just took a second. Maybe we want a dog, maybe let's say dog running on beach, right? It's very fast. It pulls up all this content. It's organized. There's no logging required. You don't have to add any hashtags or any meta tags or anything to it at all. You can simply add the content to the platform. The platform does a logging for you. Then with our storyboard, we can create a storyboard, right? So we create something here. We click from new, from library. We grab a script. So here again is a script where we have some direction in the brackets. Then we have voiceover beneath that and some more direction, more voiceover. I'm just going to copy this, bring it back over to Camcorder AI, drop it in here. I'm going to assign it to album because I want to pick video clips from this album. We've got a lot of clips in our library, so I want to narrow it down to one specific area that I can pull from. But I'm going to hit create. And this happens very quickly. Within 60 seconds, we're going to see a new storyboard right here being spun up. Probably in about 2 or 3 more sentences, this is going to be done. It's never taken more than 60 seconds for this to actually create a new storyboard for us. There it is already. Right, so that's how we got to that finished product. We took a script. First, we took B-roll, dropped into the system, let the system log it for us. Then we wrote a script. We uploaded a script to the system, and then the system assembled this for us right now. Coming very soon. Now, right now, what you can do is you can simply export it, right? So if you take this, you can export it. You can export the pieces. It's in a folder. You can drop it into an editing system of your choice. Coming very soon, we're going to have our own editor built into the system. And you can see here, right, we actually have that piece. You're able to hear that or not, but it has the audio. it has the captioning, it had the entire video, and then you can edit it just like you would in any other timeline editor like a Premiere Pro or a Final Cut Pro. You can even talk to it, right? We have a chat-based editor here. So you can use the keystrokes, you can use the buttons, or you can simply say, add it as all the 27 seconds, and Camcorder AI can do that. So that's when we talk about storyboard and library. Every part of the process here, again, there's nothing really generative other than the voiceover we created. We're generating it there. But, it's about real content in your library, connecting it to a real script in your storyboard, and then creating a video for you and just doing it in a matter of seconds instead of a matter of hours.
Hours. Yeah. Wow. So that storyboard that it comes up with, does it only create that from the video that you upload to it, or can it tell you that, hey, what would be great is if you had a video of this, and then you go and you shoot the video later?
Yes, both and, right? So we had it from the library. Next to it was the generative. So that is one of the places where we do use generative. And we do have some customers who are using it to do exactly that, right? To say they write out some notes on what they want a video to look like. They produce a storyboard. There's AI generated images, and then they can hand that off to a videographer who goes out and captures the real content and then brings it back and edits it. So you can be either pre-production using the generative to flesh out a storyboard for you, or post-production where you're actually editing the first draft of the video.
Nice. Now, I know that for certain platforms like TikTok, any short video type of content, when we've talked to people in the past who are very knowledgeable about how to make a really engaging video, they'll say things like, you want to change up the video every 7 seconds. You don't want to stay in a certain shot for more than 7 seconds or something like that. And so you want something new every 5 to 10 seconds, whatever it is. Can Camcorder AI, can you tell it to say, hey, I want to have a new shot every so many seconds? Can you program that in there?
Once we get to the editor, right? So what Storyboard does, it's going to pull everything together and give you the raw pieces so you can drop it into an editor, and then you can manipulate it. So one of the raw files could be 30 seconds long, could be 3 seconds long, could be a minute long, right? What have you. And then you would trim that down in your editor. But once we launch our editor, probably later this summer, 2025, that's when you can actually talk to it and say, Camcorder AI, I want no shot to be longer than 3 seconds, right? I want, or if one is, maybe you have one that's 7, 8 seconds long, say Camcorder AI, go back to the library and find me 2 more clips using the same actor and put them in the timeline here over the same time code. So yes, absolutely. Once the prompt-based, chat-based editor is live, you can be more specific with exactly what you're looking for, and then it will pull those things together for you.
Wow, that is so nice. I'll tell you, that would save so much time to be able to do that. Even for these podcast episodes, when I was doing all the editing myself, it might take 2 to 4 hours just to edit the video. And then I got to come up with the show notes, everything else like that. I mean, now I hire somebody else to do that for me. But even when they do that, I still have to make content decisions. Like, they can edit the video and they can cut it up and they can do these things. But then I have to go in and make editorial decisions about, okay, I need to cut this part out. This part I want to move here so that's a better hook or whatever. And so it's still quite kind of a process I have to put time into. So a tool like this would absolutely cut so many hours. If you're doing video in your business, and especially if you're a solopreneur, this will save you so much time creating so much better videos. When you're searching in the library for these clips, is it able to find a smaller clip within a larger video? So for example, like, the dog running on the beach. If that were, say, a 30-minute video of a family vacation to the beach, and only one small part of it was a dog running on the beach, could it still find that video if you put that prompt in?
Yeah, let me pull it up again real quick here, if that's okay. Okay, so let's say we want, we know we have footage of a man in a doctor's office, right? And let's see what comes up there. All right, so we got that. Now, that's pretty generic, right? It's just sort of telling you what the scene is. So let's click on a particular clip and look at what's in there, right? All of these shots, it kind of breaks it down by chapter. This is a 15-second clip. And you see the man stands ready for examination, extends his arm, holds his arms forward, touches his nose, uses his other hand. So in this case, if you search anything remotely close to any of these descriptions of the clip, the whole clip would pop up, right? And then you'd be able to look for it almost like by chapter as you're searching through it. So is that kind of what you're suggesting? Like being able to sort of pinpoint on a certain piece of a clip?
Yeah. Well, like, for example, I may have some video on my phone from a judo tournament that I went to with my kids, and maybe I just want the one where they're standing on the podium, and that's the part of it that I want. If I type that in there, is it still going to identify that video and that specific part of the video that has the kids standing on the podium?
For the most part, yeah. So we had a person who uploaded something from a big sushi event, right? So there was lots of different footage. There was footage of food, footage of people laughing, talking, there was a presentation. And I think specifically looked for like different types of sushi, like nigiri, right? Just type that in and it actually pulled up that. He didn't program that, didn't tell it to do that. But because the AI can, when it's logging, it's also connecting to the internet and saying, what is this? Right? What am I looking at here? And the internet can tell you, well, that's a piece of sushi. That's a California roll. That's a spicy roll. That's nigiri. So yes, I mean, it can absolutely pull out some of those really specific things within a clip because it does produce an entire page of metadata for each clip. You can do things like say, I want just the JPEGs because it does still images and video as well. Or maybe you could say, I want to see man in the doctor's office minus images because I don't want to see the video. We had one where we had a coffee brand and they remembered being on the shoot and the director saying, okay, now take a sip. And they searched by take a sip. And that actually pulled up the clip because the audio in the background was captured by camcorder AI when it was doing the logging.
Like I said, it is such a time saver. I remember there being times where I've searched for hours to find the right video that I wanted, and then I didn't really find what I wanted. And so I just had to settle with something else. And so this is a way that you may not have to make those compromises. One of the other things I saw was the captions on the video. Can it automatically put those captions in there like that? Or is that something else that you have to kind of manually do?
It does, yeah, because it listens to the entire thing. So I'll go back one more time here just to demonstrate the piece so we can have the visual as we're talking about it. The original set of features we had was called Clipper, right? So library and storyboard, that's relatively new. We launched that in spring of 2025. Clipper allowed us to take long form content and make it short. And in order to do that, the first thing we had to do is transcribe it, right? So here we have a full script. This is a 17-minute podcast testimonial interview I did with a really great friend of the company. He's one of our early beta testers. And, it takes it and does better than 99% accuracy, transcribes the entire piece. We had the same technology over in our library, listening to what is being said in each clip. So you can search on, again, not just the visuals, but the audio.
Now, can it also reformat the same video into different sizes? For example, a vertical video versus horizontal versus a square video for maybe Facebook ads or a post or something like that?
Yeah, it sure can. That also is part of the Clipper tool. So that was kind of one of our original things was having Clipper. So if we go over here, so this is originally a 16:9, right? And you can see the aspect ratio. You can do square, you can do vertical.
Oh, wow. Right there.
Yeah, right there. In this case, you can just hit that and it actually stacks like a podcast for you. So you can keep both speakers on the screen. And then, you can do things like change different types of captions. You can move captions around the screen. You can find, a specific clip that you like, and you can export just that clip, or you can export the entire piece. Same thing here. You can share it. We've really focused on collaboration, right? So the ability to share with people. Here, it will create a link, and you can share them. They don't need to be in the platform, even if they're not a camcorder AI user. You can share them this link, and they can watch it. And they can download. Same is true from the library, right? So if you're collaborating with, a whole bunch of different teams, maybe you have a couple of different agencies you're working with, or some different freelancers, and you find a clip for maybe a health and wellness shoot or something like that, and then you pull it up and you hit share here. Anyone with this link can view it and they can download it. So even if they're not part of the platform, but you need to make a quick edit or send something to a freelancer or an editor or an agency or a brand, what have you, we've made it so you can do that pretty easily within the system. But yeah, that's where, again, time savings, like you mentioned, how long does it take to go into a platform and just to make the same thing over 3-4 times? So you have your square version, your portrait version for TikTok and Instagram Reels, your widescreen for LinkedIn, Twitter, X, what have you. Well, again, just one click. So you're just shaving minutes and hours off every step of the way, eliminating those bottlenecks that up to this point has made video production really time consuming and really expensive. We're getting rid of a lot of those bottlenecks so you can create a lot more content a lot more quickly.
So with the collaboration feature, you could even be, say, a social media marketing agency that's doing people's social media content, and you could be using this and sharing it with your clients and getting their approval before you finalize things and all that stuff.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's what we're building this for right now is agencies primarily. Agencies and brands. We got some brands that have, in-house creative teams as well, and it works really well for them. Agencies, it's just a slam dunk because the logging alone, that library alone, and you think about every video project, you're going to do a shoot, maybe you get 5 or 10 videos from that shoot. Well, you're probably going to spend at least 3 or 4 hours logging that content, if not a lot more. paying a junior editor maybe $75 an hour, $100 an hour, something like that. If you can just eliminate that logging piece, which I've been a videographer my entire career, it's my least favorite part of the job is having to log tape. So if you can just eliminate that logging piece, you are reducing the time required to produce a video by a significant percentage to the point where a mid-sized agency, we crunch some of the numbers, can easily save $100,000 a year while still producing the same or even more video content if you just don't have to log footage and you have the ability to call on that footage whenever you need it, as opposed to spending an hour or two searching for something.
Now, I know one of the other things that we used to do when we were doing a lot of video editing ourselves was we would subscribe to services like Storyblocks or Artlist, or, there's all these companies out there that offer a library of B-roll and things like that, B-roll footage that you can use in your YouTube videos and shorts and things like that. And so we'd subscribe to these in order to be able to pull clips of other things so we didn't have to shoot them ourselves. Does Camcorder AI have a library like that? Like if I have a Storyblock subscription, can I take those videos and put them into Camcorder AI to use for my B-roll library?
That's next on the roadmap, right? We want to be able to build integrations. We've got news organizations that want to connect to Getty images, right? There's data feeds that we can pull in as well, right? On performance and content that performs well, and that can also inform the editor. So there's a lot we can do to open this up and start pulling in information and feeds from other areas. And I think probably one of the first steps we'll probably want to take is, just like you said, a way to integrate so we can pull stock footage from iStock, from Getty, from Unsplash, from Pixabay, from tools like that. Like all the footage that I demonstrated in that library, we pull that through Pixabay, right? That's real footage, but it's stock footage. And I think that's where this will start to get even more powerful, is when you have the content you shoot and you produce, and then the ability to pull in other content. Voiceover, for example, like our voiceover is produced by 11 Labs. We have an integration with 11 Labs, and that will allow us to do things like, I want a energetic American male. I want a 20-year-old British woman. I want a, this, that. They have lots of different voices, right? So once we start really expanding the editor and providing more options, and then also providing more ways to source content and pull it into the library, then that will just expand the use cases and make it an even more powerful platform. It is a type of thing too where, we have a monthly subscription because we want to make this accessible for your solopreneur, your freelancer, but we also want this to work for big agencies and organizations and brands. So if a big brand or an agency wants to build a specific set of integrations, we can do that. And we're planning on being able to do that as well.
This software is a great use of AI because, so many people want to do the deep fakes and the fake videos and things like that. I think that's totally the wrong direction to go. But using it in this way, where it's just taking your authentic self and helping you to create an amazing video from that, I think is absolutely what we want to do, and the way that we should be using AI in a business going forward in the future. Like I said, authenticity is what people are looking for, and this is definitely a tool that can help you to create that and make an amazing video so much faster. Is there anything else Camcorder AI can do? Because it seems like, it does so much already, but is there anything else that you're looking at, either you have right now that it can do, or in the future that you're looking at developing?
Yeah, coming soon. Once we have the editor built, you'll have a chat-based editor, right? So you can talk to it. That means a human can talk to it, or a feed could talk to it. You could pull in information from a performance metrics platform like Emotion or something like that. And they could tell you which of the videos that you created performed the best. And then they could use that as templates for videos going forward that can make your editor just that much more powerful, and storyboard that much more powerful. It's pulling together drafts of videos based on other higher performing videos. That's our next big thing. Once we lock down editor, which we will in 2025, late 2025, early 2026, especially as we complete this fundraising round and add more engineers, then we can go to optimization, taking video content, optimizing it for performance, and allowing people to create more optimized content more quickly, right? To swap out 10 different hooks, or to experiment with 20 different CTAs, because you have it in your library and you've got data saying this works, but let's try this for this audience, right? That's going to be really exciting to see, first of all, the chat-based editor, prompt-based editor, and then the ability to pull in performance metrics and then further optimize content through storyboard and through the editor based on what works.
Wow. That, I will tell you, we have spent so much time just diving into clicking around on YouTube analytics and trying to figure out, okay, what had the best click rate and looking at the retention graphs and all that stuff. If this is something else that I can do in the future, where it can do that analysis for me and just tell me what videos are performing better, and again, that's just so much time that it can save. I really love this idea and this concept, and I love where you're going with this. If people want to learn more about this, I assume Camcorder AI is where they go. Is there anywhere else where they can find you online and get some more information?
Yeah, camcorder.ai is the website. I'm on LinkedIn. I welcome anyone who wants to reach out, talk about AI and video, even if you're not necessarily thinking about the platform, you just want to talk about workflows and the future of AI in the video production and storytelling process. Video storytelling is my passion. It has been since I was in middle school, which is a long, long time ago. And I really love just the idea of operationalizing video and authentic video storytelling. And that really is, core to, again, my professional being is real storytelling from the heart with real people. AI can help us do that faster and more efficiently and more effectively. And that's what we're all about. So yeah, camcorder.ai. I'm Justin Ware on LinkedIn. If you search me and then search me through Camcorder, you'll find me no problem.
Awesome. Well, we will also have the links for all of that in the show notes, so be sure to check that out. Justin, thank you so much for being on the podcast. We really appreciate you.
Yeah, it's been awesome. Thank you, Todd.
You've been listening to the Digital Trailblazer podcast. For show notes and information about today's guest, head to digitaltrailblazer.com. Now, if you love this episode, if you got some value, make sure you leave us a review and subscribe. And be sure to share this episode with anyone you know who could use help to build their business. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.